And as Muslim women, we may ask, what exactly can we do? But I want us to realize, sisters, that we should never underestimate our influence. Those Islamophobes and people who have enmity towards Islam, they don't underestimate us as Muslim women. Why is it that the establishment are so afraid of Muslim women, so afraid of the way we dress? Why is it that they try so hard, and I don't really know what it's like here in Canada, but I definitely know in Europe, that the establishment tries so hard to crush the resolve of the Muslim woman? You know, can you imagine a Muslim woman in France can't go to school with hijab? So the Muslims have had to build their own private schools, or their daughters won't be able to go to school. Muslim women on the street who just want to cover their faces are fined on the spot. This is what's happening in Europe. And constantly in the news, you know, in Britain as well, the subject of the veil keeps coming up, you know, the subject of the Muslim woman. And so we, as Muslim women, have become the quintessential symbol of a strong, proud Islam. Why is it that they focus so much on the Muslim woman? It is because, sisters, although it's a cliche, it's absolutely true, that we women are half of society and we give birth to the other half. We are the makers and breakers of culture. And the establishment can see in us the end of their capitalistic, materialistic, nihilistic ideology, which they're spreading throughout the world. The rape and pillage of the world is taking place under the noses of humanity. And those who would like to continue to exploit the world, exploit the resources of people, exploit nature in the way that they're doing, can see in us, believe it or not, the end of their ideology and their ability to do that. And I'm going to give you two illustrations that show us the transformative power of women and how those who, you know, have enmity towards Muslims and Islam do not underestimate us. The French philosopher Frantz Fanon, who wrote many books about, you know, post-colonial studies, he, in his book, A Dying Colonialism, said that the focus of the colonialists on women was real when it came to conquering Algeria. He said that they identified that Muslim women constituted the pivot of Algerian society, and a campaign was waged by the French in Algeria to divorce Muslim women from their veils, from the way they dressed, because to them it symbolized their commitment and their strength as Muslims. And he in fact said that the political doctrine of the French was, if we want to destroy the structure of Algerian society, we must first of all conquer the women. That's just one example, you know, of a government that systematically focused on Muslim women as a way to weaken and colonize a whole society. A second example I'll give you, sisters, is that of the Mongols that whom we were talking about, you know, those savages, those who were known and are notorious in history for their savagery and for their pillaging of cities and civilizations. How is it that within a couple of generations of them conquering Baghdad or destroying Baghdad, that those very Mongols actually became Muslims? You know, my husband, he's from the Chagatai clan in India. And the Chagatais are direct descendants of the Mongols, of Genghis Khan, right? And yet they're Muslims now. They're the ones who built the Taj Mahal. How did these savages, so-called, suddenly become the people who would build something as beautiful as the Taj Mahal? Well, their conversion, my sisters, is actually attributed by historians mainly to the Muslim women, prisoners whom they took when they pillaged the Muslim lands. You know, in those days, when there was a war and you fought and you won, you would take the women as slaves, right? And even the children. And so the Muslim women were taken as slaves. Can you imagine the difficult situation that they were in? And yet, because they were in the households of the Mongol kings, and because they were raising the children of those leaders and kings and generals, they raised those children upon Islam. And so within a generation, the king himself was a Muslim, and the Mongols became a Muslim civilization.